Let's talk Bigfoot, people. Now, when you think of the legendary beast, you're probably thinking of a deep forest and not the bayou. But our first story shows that there may be a Bigfoot living just 35 miles from the Big Easy. Honey Island, Louisiana, sometime in the late 1970s. Retiree Harlan Ford has been documenting wildlife out here with his Super 8 camera and telling stories about monstrous, hairy hominids he's encountered. Today, he may have just captured the proof. A large, bipedal, uniform-colored creature, about 100 yards away from Harlan's vessel, strides between the trees. Let's take a better look. We can see this strange two-legged figure lumbering through the thick swampland. And while it's hard to tell without any further visual reference, some witnesses claim this creature could be a monstrous 8 feet tall and could weigh up to 500 pounds. Author Dana Holyfield is Harlan's granddaughter, who discovered this footage of what's known as the Honey Island Swamp Monster after it had been locked away for decades.
Growing up as the granddaughter of the local monster hunter, to me, it's like that's just a normal thing. But it wasn't until I got older, grew up, that my grandmother would come out with this big box, and it was all his wildlife photography. And that's when we saw this 8mm film. It was interesting to see that he actually probably got closer than what any of us really knew.
While reported theories about the beast started spreading in the 1960s, indigenous folklore that dates back hundreds of years has described a hideous creature known to stalk this swamp, looking to capsize vulnerable boats and drag victims underwater where it would feast on their flesh. And for those who think the southern swamps are no place for a Bigfoot, field researcher Cliff Barrickman believes it's actually a perfect habitat.
It is over 70,000 acres. Most of it is government protected. There are many nooks and crannies that people just do not go into. This could only be one of two things: a Sasquatch in the wild or a person pretending to be a Sasquatch in the wild. There are no other options.
When the French colonists first settled in Louisiana, they brought along some of their own monster mythologies. Legends like the Rougarou, a human cursed to haunt the Louisiana swamps as a wolf-headed creature. It was said to hunt down wayward Catholics who broke the rules of Lent. Let's see what our experts think about this bayou beast. Could this just be a misidentification of an animal typically found in the area, like a black bear? Wildlife biologist Stephanie Manka doesn't think so.
It seems to be walking pretty easily on its hind legs, and black bears, they can walk on their hind legs, but it's not as effortless as it appears to be in this video. This is definitely not a black bear.
Professor of anatomy and anthropology Jeff Meldrum approaches this footage cautiously.
There are a couple of frames that suggest a figure with something of a forward lean, but it's kind of challenging to identify any real anatomical detail.
Even based on what he can see, Meldrum wonders about a key ingredient missing from this creature's exterior: a pronounced coat of hair.
The detail that's present in the video does not give a real good view of what would be a hair covering. Hair would certainly be advantageous in terms of protecting it from the coarse vegetation and insects and so forth. It also gives a natural sort of camouflage to the degree that an animal of this size and behavior would need.
It is widely believed that all Sasquatches have hair instead of fur, which is why, similar to other primates, it doesn't frequently shed or molt. But without a clear view of hair, Meldrum can't rule out clothing or a costume. Plus, Meldrum questions why, if Harlan was lucky enough to get this elusive creature on camera, would he film for such a short time?
I would think that an intrepid hunter would be motivated to pursue and investigate further and make the discovery of the century. So it leaves a lot of unanswered questions.
Our verdict: unknown humanoid. Without further evidence, our findings remain inconclusive. But Harlan Ford's granddaughter is still convinced this film is genuine, and the number of Bigfoot sightings in Louisiana continues to increase.